TikTok, it's time to rock. It's the British Electric Blues Sunday show. We're here. It's been a mammoth marathon weekend for the channel. 3 shows in 2 days. And we've managed to get and save everything for, I'm going to say it, for the best. For the Sunday show. I said it. Oh, no, come on. I better dig myself out of that hole. Yeah, they're completely different shows, aren't they, gentlemen? They're completely different shows.
If you, as the owner of our channel, want to compare them, that's good with us. We are stepping away from it big time.
Oh, no, we love it all. We love what we do here on the channel, and we appreciate everybody that jumps in to watch a lot of the replays too. A couple of the shows that we did in the weekend, guys, had some great hits. So, we're tracking well over 100 on both of them, which is pretty good because normally it takes a couple of days for at least a couple of the shows to get up there. So people are watching what we're saying, guys, which is always good. It's a privilege and it's always humbling, isn't it, Rock Professor and Brad?
100%. Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's fantastic. 100%. And they have been really good shows. I've really enjoyed all of them. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, and guys, I noticed we're at a magical number. We're at 888 subscribers, 888 subscribers.
888, yes, fantastic.
So I want to congratulate everyone that's helped us get there, and congratulations, Andrew, Simon, and Hoss. We've built the channel up very organically. We're doing an amazing job, but as much as we bang on about it, we love you guys, and we hope you guys can actually help us get to 1,000 sooner than later. So share and do all that good stuff.
Yeah. Good on you, bro. Good on you. We love it. We love hanging out with everybody. Got some great comments here. The Rock Professor's going to do a shout out to everybody soon. So hold your horses, everyone. We're going to do a couple of shout outs, of course, as always. And, he's always in our thoughts. We dedicate this show to our very good friend Warren, who's going through some cancer treatment. We haven't heard from him for a while, but we do wish him well. We do wish him all the best, and he'll come back, and we can't wait to hang out with him. Also, we want to do a shout out to this guy here who made a comment earlier in the chat. This guy here next to this other guy, these two handsome guys.
John 351. Fantastic.
Rat bags.
Oh my gosh! So Brad's going to fill us in with a bit of information about that gig and some of the trouble that him and John ZD351 got into. He's got an interesting little story to tell us, which incidentally we were discussing earlier on the 5150 show. Bit of a thing there, and the Rock Professor's got a couple of lessons too to pass on. So, Brad, what happened?
Well, John was true to his word in the chat yesterday. He mentioned he was going to come down to my gig, and he turned up. And so it was great to catch up with John. Obviously, he's been a major contributor to the chat. We've met online, obviously, like when he jumped on that time and things like that. So we've met online, but to meet in person was really, really pleasurable. And he's a lovely guy, and it kind of cements how awesome our show is here, and the community we've got that share the show with us. And as much as we bang on about it being our channel, I feel like I'm very humble in the way. And when I say this, it's everybody's channel, and John's a major contributor. Everyone in the chat is, and it's nice to put a face to a name and things like that. So it was just really cool, and also he hung around. You got to hear some 80s music and whatnot, and some pretty cool songs in there, some guitar orientated moments and stuff. So it was pretty cool for him. I'm sure he enjoyed it. And but it was really, really, really great to meet you there, John. And obviously there'll be many more shows we will be meeting each other at moving forward, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I won't tell you the debauchery we got up to, because this is a family show, so we've got to keep it clean. All right?
Debauchery.
Okay.
Debauchery, eh?
The rock and roll debauchery. Actually, let me just say, he's a bad influence. It's not me.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Brad,
Not here to
easily
defend
led
himself.
cook. Yes,
That's right.
yes,
I'm
yes,
getting it
yes,
in
yes,
now.
yeah.
Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't get on the bad side of John. He'd probably just do this, knock you into the ground. So.
I got something else to flick up here on the screen too. And when we flicked it up, and we had a bit of a discussion, guys, in the chat and girls. We had a couple of expletives passed to us from Brad in relation to this photo here. So he's got a bit of information to pass on about this pic here. This pic. So tell us, bro. This is going to be cool too.
Well, there's a lot of venues around Melbourne that don't allow us to play very loud. So, I mean, I'm a loud guitar player. I've learned to play softer, but this particular venue, you can actually turn your amp up quite solidly loud and use a 4x12 cabinet. Now, I haven't used this 4x12 cabinet for a long time because of lockdowns, and pretty much since the end of lockdowns and gigging again, I haven't used this cabinet. Now, after using this cabinet last night with this Marshall rig, I never want to use another amp again. It's phenomenal. The tone of the thing, there's something to say. There's no replacement for speakers. Like you can put one speaker, two speaker, but when you got four speakers resonating, and there's something quite unique. The back of your pants vibrate. There's something different about it. It makes you play a different way. And, at first I was like a bit shocked. I was like, wow, this thing sounds phenomenal. But that's what I've been missing. That's just what it sounds like with a 4x12 cab. So I know there will be gigs I'll have to use the 2x12 cab again. And it's not a bad cabinet. It's just having that luxury of four speakers on stage and a bit of space and a bit of volume was great. But yeah, I never want to go back to a 212 box, but obviously I'll have to at certain points. But
it's very difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. I mean, I had a high 100 watt. You couldn't play in a pub in Bristol, and it's like when you get down and you're like, oh, I'm on zero, right? It's nothing, and I get a one. Oh no, that's much too loud. The glasses are breaking on the back shelf. No, and it was like, it was just. And of course, I don't know if Brad, nobody's ever come and said, "Can you turn up?" Have they? Ever?
Well, I'm gonna.
Or have they?
Last night at soundcheck, the amazing sound guy we had last night, we went through all the rigs and the drum kit and everything, and we did a song. And right at the end of the very song, the first thing he did was yell out, "Brad, you need to turn up." I was like, "Can I record that? I've never heard anyone say that before."
What did you turn it up to? What were you on? 3?
Mate, honestly, I turned up to about 4 or something on the dial. 3, but it's pretty loud at that volume anyway. But that was quite a funny moment. I don't think in all my years of playing I've actually heard that before. So
yeah. Oh well, no, and I said I've got a little old PV Delta Blues, an old one, like a more than 25 years old, American one, and I said to the boy, I said, I'll get a bigger amp the day somebody comes up and says, "Can you turn up?" It's like, no, as yet, still waiting, still got the PV. Because I've never had to turn up. I can turn that up to about 4. That's the same thing about 1 on the high watt.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Well,
awesome.
It was great. Anyway, it was a great fun gig in the sense where I got to play at a normal volume, what I call a normal volume, which is reasonably loud, which is good. Yeah.
And apparently you had some technical difficulties.
Oh yes, that's where the swear words came into it, and I won't share them. But
don't share the swear. Oh, look at
well,
that.
It's funny because we had a big chat about gear and stuff pretty much once we got through all the discussion point on the show yesterday on the Unleashed MTV special for the 5150 show. We just started talking guitar gear and everything, and I went through the story where at a wedding, in the Wedding Waltz song, my pedal board went down and I had to unplug from my pedal board and plug straight into my amp, and thank God my guitar sound, well, my sound is basically my guitar and amp, and the pedals are color. So last night in one of the, National Australian Anthem that we call it, Working Class Man by Jimmy Barnes, just right at the solo part, my pedal board just died. Like there was a loose cable or something. I don't know what it was. Just died.
Always a cable. Always a cable.
All the power went out, and obviously I'm in stage costume. I've got leather pants on, top hat, this and that, and glasses, and I can't see what's going on. So all I did was just plug straight into my amp, and I got through the gig, the second set like that. Pretty much no pedals.
The whole of the second set with no pedals.
Yeah, it was really early in the second set, and I couldn't, I couldn't actually do it. So it was just I had to rely. But that's what I was falling back on that comment. If you get a good guitar and a good amp sound, everything else really is color, like your wah pedal, your delays, your chorus, all that stuff. That's your color.
You can get out of it, can't you? Yeah. Does your Marshall don't have 2 channels, Brad?
It's got a bluesy tone, and it's got like a hard rock.
It has got an overdrive.
Yeah.
I mean, because on that's one of the things about the PV. It's got clearly 2 channels, a clean and a overdrive channel, and I've got a foot switch for it. So if I'm reduced to that, I've still got 2 channels and a boost. It's got a boost on it as well. The boost is not able to be wired into the foot switch. I've no idea why that's the case, but you have to go and press my hand. But I could get away with it. I can get away with 2.5 channels like that.
It's a pity you're not here in Australia, because I could have got my mate to fix it, because I got a boost pedal put in my amp, so that's just a volume boost. So for solos, I can just put it a few dB louder and off I go.
Well, interesting. I had the reverb. There's a bit of funniness going on the reverb, which is not surprising on an amp with 25 years old. Still got pretty much it hasn't got original valves, but they only got changed about 3 years ago. So on the valve crisis, yes. Well, they'll last for another 20 years. It probably won't be one in 20 years. But I asked the guy at the repair shop I took to, Golden and Curtis. I said to him, can you have a look? Is there any way of wiring up the boost thing? Because the reverb on and off is of no interest to me at all. Whereas changing that and having the reverb so that actually it turns the boost on and off, which seems to be a prerequisite of your foot switch, didn't seem to do it at all. No, he said it's not possible to do it.
Right.
Without completely replacing the board, I guess, that's in it and stuff. So, but he did say I asked him to look at it, because I thought if it's a fairly simple mod, then I'll have it done. But it's not a simple mod.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you couldn't get it done, but I think you end up spending a lot of hours and hundreds of pounds, and it's just not worth it. Well, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But anyway, that was.
I was going to ask. Clearly, this is the second time it's happened. What do you have a kind of backup system in your head, Brad, about what you're going to do if like say the Marshall goes down? What are you going to do?
Oh, I've got a little crate
DI box.
It's a 120 watt power block. It's transistor, and it gives me pretty much like a Malcolm Young sort of sound, like from AC/DC. It gives me that sort of tone. Puts me in that ballpark, so I can gain it up a bit more if I need to, or clean it up a bit. But the starting point, everything at 12 o'clock is just Malcolm Young, so it's not a bad little backup amp. Yeah,
it has a speaker and stuff as well.
No, just a head, and I just run it through my cabinet. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got me out of a few gigs in the past, definitely, and I have travelled with it, like for a travel rig at times too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested. I always got in my head, I've got what happens if something goes down. So if the PV.
I used to take 2 Marshall heads, but my back started to tell me not to do it anymore.
Yeah, one in each hand is balance, apparently.
I used to stack like 2 heads on one box, 2 heads, and one was always back up.
Yeah, that's for somebody who's got roadies, isn't it?
But, I was saying to John last night that rig there's what I used. My last gig last weekend, I fell over carrying out my thing because the grass was all slippery out the back, and I fell over and I landed on my Marshall head.
Oh,
I bruised down my side here.
Yeah.
But now, turn the Marshall on, works. There's no problem.
Save the Marshall. Ribs, on the other hand, not so good.
No, I landed on top of it, Simon. I landed on top of it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Oh, good on you. Good on you. The best bit landed on the best bit. So that's what we want to hear. Hey, guys, we got 17 people watching us. We got, actually 18 people on YouTube and one person from one of our Facebook groups because we're streaming on our All Things, All About the Blues, the British Electric Blues Facebook group, and also the 5150 Facebook group as well. So we're streaming over there, guys. So, getting some people coming in. Yesterday, I think we had on the 5150 show, we had about 30 people watching us. So
Cool.
Always good. We appreciate it. We're getting some numbers up there. It's not necessarily a big thing for the channel, but it helps. It helps with our algorithms, and it means that at least 30 people or 18 or 19 people think that the Mad Professor, the Rock Professor, Brad, and...
the Mad Professor. Thank you so much.
And Andrew have got something to say, but it could be, guys. It could be everyone could just be here because of people in the chat. Have you guys thought about that?
Well, that's why I said, Andrew, at the start of this, we've got a very amazing community here.
So speaking about the chat, I suppose we better get the Rock Professor.
The Mad Rock Professor.
You can do a shout out. Let's get him going.
Yeah. So good morning to John, ZD351, who left us a quick thing. So he's gone to his friend's album launch. So I hope that goes well, John.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That's good.
Yeah, that's cool. Tell us what album it is. It's that reminds me. Nelson Rodriguez, of course, Nelson. Good morning, Nelson. Hope you're good. Teresa from sunny Brazil. Good morning, Teresa. We've got Keith Campbell. Morning, Keith. Hope you're good.
Hey, brother.
Brad Cook, some bloke called Brad Cook. Newcomer. Welcome, Brad.
Oh, yeah. The new boy.
New boy on the block. Johnny Heartbreaker. Morning, Johnny. Led Zeppelin. Good morning, Gretch. Of course, great name as ever. Helene O'Hara. Good morning, Helene. How are you? Who else have we got here? And the mighty Quentin James. Good morning, Quentin.
Mr. Q.
Mr. Q. Yep. I think that's all I've got on hopefully on my list on the YouTube side anyway.
And there's one noticeable person who's not here, and there was a comment made earlier in the chat, Brad. So Helene was asking how's Ellen. So we want to do a special shout out to her because Brad mentioned yesterday on the 5150 show that she wasn't well. So our thoughts and prayers go to Ellen too. Thank you for all the support you do for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming she's okay. She sent me some stuff over the weekend, so I'm pretty sure I'll talk to her later after the show as well.
Okay, brother. Yeah, we'll pass on. Right. Yeah, pass on everybody's regards to her. She means a lot to a lot of people here. So
yes.
I just reiterates everything that you said before about our channel. You know, we miss people who aren't here.
Yeah, 100%. We've got an amazing, caring community. And again, like last night, I'll just quickly repeat it. When John came down, it just made me realize, it's everyone's channel. It's not just ours, guys. You know, we should be pretty mindful of that.
Yeah. So because Alan's not here, does that mean we can play up?
Well, I always play up, but I never have been one to do as I'm told. So
yeah.
Oh, he's a rock and roll rebel.
Oh, you guys are awesome. It's great hanging out with you guys. Look, I have to tell you though, guys, before we get into the ranking of the tracks, so we've got some good comments, some good feedback from people on the first Zoso show that we did. Because I'm out of Facebook prison, I'm going to do a lot of shares of that show to some Led Zeppelin Facebook groups to see if we can get some people from some of these groups watching and contributing also too to what we want to achieve here, because as Brad said last week, we're not experts, we're just Led Zeppelin nuts, we're just fans, we just love the music. I don't know everything about what Jimmy Page did, We've got a couple of books,
Nobody
and
does.
we've watched a couple of things and stuff like that over the years. No, but the point is, if we can create a bit of a hub and get something going here on YouTube, talking about Led Zeppelin and in particular Jimmy Page, I think we've done well.
And it'll be a hub for experts to come on,
Yeah,
and chat.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's what we do here. So we've always said it right from the word go. If you're a regular in the chat here and you want to participate with something that we've got planned officially, or you want to come on and take over a show with the three of us, that's no problem. We're always open to do that. We've had a couple of guys. We had Mikey on yesterday, who was always a contributor to the chat. We had Chris Hunter on too, so another guy from the chat, and he wants to come on, and when we do some Deep Purple stuff and like that, he wants to come on the Sunday show and hang out with us too. So, it's that's what it's about. So we'll do the best that we can, won't we, Brad and Simon, to make people feel comfortable.
Well, you know my thing. Everyone's got a story, and things that they really like, and we're really happy to tap into that. Well, I think it's really important that we tap into those things. And if people out there with specialist knowledge of stuff, please come on, please come and tell us about it, because I think it makes a more interesting show. It'd be great.
Well, talking about specialist knowledge, if you guys go back and have a look at the first show that we did this weekend, we had a couple of guys on that are responsible for publishing a new book on Peter Green that's going to be released hopefully in October. So on behalf of the channel, I said that we would do everything that we can to push this book, because it's going to be a great document for a guy that's really, really close to our channel, Peter Green. So if you guys aren't aware of it, there's this book here called Fleetwood Mac in Chicago '69, the legendary chess blues sessions. It's a book written by Jeff Lowenthal and Robert Schaffner. So check them out. I'll put links to this book if you guys want to pre-order it and support them, because from all accounts, Simon, it's going to be a good book. It's going to be a great book.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be really cool. All those fantastic kind of black and white, mainly black and white photographs. I think there's some color ones, but there's nothing like the atmosphere of I think for a black and white photograph. Taken on film, of course. Proper camera, proper film, proper that. None of this modern digital stuff.
Well, I'll let you guys know. I'll say it now. So I've reached out to Martin Clemens, or I can't pronounce his surname. Simmons or whatever. He wrote a book on Peter Green in the mid-1990s, and he's coming out with the 4th edition. So we've asked him to come on and hang out with us, Brad and Simon. And also there's a new biography released in November of this year on Gary Moore, another guitar player who's very close to our channel as well. So I've reached out to that author. So I haven't had a reply. So I know that we'll be at that show with bells on, won't we?
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to the Gary Moore one as well. Definitely. Big influence on me. Big influence on the whole channel.
Yeah, well, what's really good about this book, though, from what I understand, though, is that so this guy knows a bit about music gear. So it's nothing worse when you read a book and someone says Eric Clapton picked up his guitar and then he played this song. But if somebody who writes the book says Eric Clapton went and picked up his Fender Stratocaster, and the amp that he had was, his Tweed. It was this Tweed 57, but and knows a little bit about the guitar and gear. Brad especially will be happy to hear this too, and I know he will be. This guy is going to talk about the gear that Gary used through his careers, through his career.
To this day, I love Gary's tone. I love his playing. I love everything he used. But to me, when he did around the time he's using the Soldano head, that was my favorite tone of Gary's, without a doubt.
Yeah.
He's using the SLO 100, and there's a live performance. I think it's called Live Blues, and he's playing with BB King gets up and does a couple of songs with him. Thrill Is Gone and Since I Met You, Baby. And, man, Gary's tone on that is just like to die for. It's just sensational. And it's this small little club, people seated, and he just comes out blasting, like tearing the paint off the walls with this Soldano and Les Paul. It's just insane.
Yeah, he's a legend, isn't he? You know, when you consider the rock and roll pedigree that he had, you know, and then how he embraced the blues, and you know, then he was playing with the Strat, and then with the Les, you know, just Simon, you know, this you know, just a complete musician. It didn't matter what the guitar was, you know, the guy was just going to get up there and let it rip, wasn't he, Simon?
Of course.
Yeah,
it's the only way to do it.
I used to call him Gaza Moore, you know. But yeah, and you know, back to what we're talking about, he was a fan of Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. He loved Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. So hopefully we get these guys on. All we can do is reach out, send them a message, you know. And this is where it becomes really, really important for you guys in the chat to help us, as Brad said earlier. You know, once we get 1,000 subscribers to our channel, and then we can talk about our Facebook groups, it gives us a bit of credibility for getting these people, because, you know, we're going to ask them the real questions because we're the fans, and you guys in the chat are too. So you guys can participate in rock and roll history by asking these guys some questions directly. And we don't have to rely on some hack from some, you know, conglomerate somewhere on behind a keyboard who doesn't really know anything about the music asking the questions.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
so
guys,
we're on the up, and that's great.
I'm pretty excited to get into today's episode. I've been looking forward to this one all week.
Okay, and the honour obviously goes to the Rock Professor, because he because he has the pedigree here. He's the one that's pulling rank on Brad and I, because he's seen this band live.
Yeah.
Yes. 1975. It kind of coincides with the release of the films, so it's they're pretty close, although clearly not quite the same thing, because they don't do the. When I saw them, they did the acoustic bit, but actually, quite a lot of it is quite the same. You know, the sort of the lasers with the bow and all of that stuff is that we'll get to. But yeah, that I think pretty much that was what I saw. You know, but amazing. But yeah, they clearly the major difference is that on Song Remains the Same, they don't do an acoustic. They don't have an acoustic section, or not. So they just pretty much all electric all the way through. And whereas, you know, when I went to see them, they did go into California and Tangerine and stuff as a little acoustics, you know, sitting down on stools playing acoustics. Really good. Fantastic.
Yep, no problem. So you can kick off the ranking, but yeah, I just want to back what Keith said there. Jimmy Page is Jimmy Page's real name, James Page.
James Patrick Page.
Yep. His patron saint's feast day was a couple of days ago too, so he would have been happy about that.
JPP, JPJ.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, fantastic.
So we're going to go straight into like where the songs actually start for the movie. Simon, you're going first, I believe.
I believe I am.
Yes, we're into the mighty rock and roll.
I believe I'll dust my broom. Yes. It's we'll talk about the other sequences, I think, as part of at the end, but when we get to them. But yeah, we're going to concentrate on the songs that are in the film. Because clearly the film has fewer songs in it than this has. This is like the soundtrack to it. But don't worry, I've got notes on them both, so I should be flicking back and forth.
No problem.
Like a wild person. If I knew how to do it, I could split my screen so I had them both on the screen at the same time. But I'm not quite there yet. So anyway, the band come out and go straight into rock and roll, which is, I mean, it's pretty much a la the album version. I mean, Jimmy Page clearly. The brilliant thing about Jimmy Page is, you know, he starts off and he's chosen which bits of the guitar parts to play, and then he'll play a bit of one, and then he'll play a bit of the other. They play a bit of one, a bit of the other, which I think is interesting. You know, I love the fact they all kind of crowd around the thing. John Bonham, you know, counts it in, da, 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 you know, fantastic, and there's tremendous visceral energy about it. I also think that it's a great opener, isn't it? It's not really complicated. It's not really difficult. You know, if you want to get warmed up, you know, get into the gig, get into the groove of it. That actually, it's a really good choice for an opener because it's, you know, pretty much straightforward rock and roll. Nothing too flash about it. Nothing too difficult to play. You get the sound sorted out. You know, you get yourself settled into the gig, don't you? So I think it's.
Hey, Luca.
You know, morning, Luca, and they, you know. True, it's not the other. Yes, that's true. But so you know, I think a really good choice. 9 out of 10 from me. Clearly, never a skip, and absolutely, you know, me. I'm all about you know, the programming of albums and stuff like that, and I think and shows, and I think that's, you know, fantastic opening track, and they do it brilliantly. You know, settling in, I get it completely.
Fantastic, Brad.
Well, from the minute that, you know, John Bonham goes, okay, let's go, we get the explosiveness of what's to come, which I think I could only imagine being front row at that concert and feeling the power of that band as they kicked off this version of rock and roll, because there's so much energy in it, and it is a comfort zone song. They know what they're doing. It's a blues, it's a shuffle. Jimmy Page covers, you know, his two guitar parts in the one song, and the arrangement so well. He's strutting, he's, you know, moving his hands, he's animated. Robert Plant's holding his microphone like he owns it. You know, it's, you know, John Paul Jones is just holding that bottom end down. He starts off at the front of the stage. If you notice that, I don't know. He starts off towards the song. He's almost back towards Bonzo, but it's just a perfect example, in my opinion. You listen to the recorded version of rock and roll, and then you listen to the live version. They were a live band. They were a band that were obviously four equals. And from the word go in this song, you can tell that there's no weak link in this band. They're all leaning on each other through the song. I mean, for me, the first time I ever watched this, I was just captivated with Jimmy Page. I was just watching him in awe, just going, wow, this guy's just, you know, the way he sort of animated his guitar playing and strung so low, and he's playing, and his lead break, you know, where he's doing I call it the fish mouth, you know, and he's doing all that. And I was soaked into what he was doing so much so that you almost get lost. And I still feel that every time I put this film on. I still feel that same excitement, because I'd never seen anything live of Zeppelin before this. You know, this was the first thing, and I was just gobsmacked because I'd heard the records and that, but I'd never seen it. So for me, I have to give this like a 10 out of 10. It's never a skip for me. It's one of those songs that I've played in many a cover band. I will say this. I don't think I've ever played with a drummer that's nailed the intro to rock and roll properly, because it goes and then as it comes in, it's got it creeps up, and it sort of like loses a beat because it speeds up.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think I've ever played with a drummer, and I played with a lot, and I played the song a lot, that have actually nailed that intro. They get through it. Actually. Yeah, but so yeah, 10 out of 10 for me, never a skip. And wow, what a performance. They were certainly on the game here. You know, Robert Plant was singing, he's cruising through the song. He's not even pushing. He's just.
Do you not notice, Brad, that there's one, particularly in this, there's one line where you can hear it, where his voice cracking a bit. So I think he's actually deliberately. My understanding is he's deliberately kind of holding it back a bit. I don't. It's fine. He sounds great to me, but I think he's I think he's the end of the tour, and I think there's a bit of the upper register may have gone a bit.
He just sounds like he's warming up with this tune. That's
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Andrew.
Yeah, look, I have to agree with you, guys. It's a great opener. It's fantastic. When I was a 14-year-old boy hearing it, it still captivates me when I've been listening to it over the last couple of weeks in preparation for these shows. I'm glad you mentioned John Bonham, because there's something special about this song that gives me this aspect. I think that I feel like I'm floating, and it's the way that John Bonham plays the ride cymbals, the crash cymbals. It's just, and if you guys listen to it, it's right through the song. It's right through the song, that percussion. So he's playing it, and it just gives. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I feel like the music from the rest of the band is just floating above what he's providing from that percussion that he provides. It's vibrant. I love it. I listened to it again with earphones, and you can hear it. And, we mentioned it earlier, didn't we, on the previous show? One of the great things about listening to all of Jimmy Page's recordings, you may not like the songs, or there may be some dynamics missing as far as, song structure, but you can never say that the recordings are horrible. The recordings are fantastic. And we talked about the issues around this recording last week, and made reference to some websites that provide some of that background, but we won't get into that. But I still love it. I love it. And in my mind, Brad and Simon, it's a complete performance in my mind. So I'm going to rank this in that sequence. I just about want to Brad score it. But I can't. So I'm going to give it a 10. But I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. And I just want to echo one other thing too that Brad said that amazed me, because I hadn't seen Jimmy Page 2 ever play until I saw the VHS. But what freaked me out, and it still freaks me out now, something years later, he's down at the 12th fret, and then he'll go up to the 5th fret, and then he'll go down to the 12th fret, and everyone talks about what he's doing with this left hand, but watch what he's doing with that right hand. And he never misses a note. So he's not just playing it like a box or extended box. He's playing the 5th at the 5th fret, a pentatonic scale, and then he'll go down to the 11th or the 12th all the time. I love it. It's no wonder it inspired guitar players to think, I have to try and do this, or I can't do this.
Yeah,
one or the other. 10 out of 10, guys.
I have to say something before we move to the next song too. I can't believe none of us have actually mentioned this about this song. The explosive drum solo at the end. Before they bring into the next song. That's just, there's a drum solo on the recorded version, but wow. It's just like, there's so much energy. You can just, it's like bombastic and boisterous. It's just insane. Bonham, like you said, Andrew, the band are just floating on top of him, and there's no effort by any of the members in the first track. They're just playing. I will make mention of this to highlight something Andrew just said. Then Jimmy Page was the king of inversions on guitar. So rather than playing full chords, he would play inversions and things like that. So as we go through these songs, you got to put into perspective, he's trying to cover off guitar parts that are multiple and a recording in one thing. So he's playing inversions and all sorts of stuff, which is
absolutely,
and it makes the song so much more interesting in a sense too. And you mentioned his right hand, and I'm going to quickly mention his left hand there again. That
interchange between the two guitar parts. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
I could talk for hours about it, but we'll keep going with the songs. But it's just what I'm saying. There's so much. When you watch this, you can just pick up little something new every time, and it's just phenomenal. It's yeah.
And there's plenty of good shots of his hand on the neck as well, aren't there? If you wonder,
yeah,
it's
they did very good.
And the one thing, I mean, you've got sort of just over. Oh, I'm trying to point there.
Over.
See where Jimmy's next to me there, and he's pouting. He's doing the fish mouth, and he's got the Les Paul low, and he's got the Star and Moon suit on there. It looks like something Kiss would have tried to copy, like Paul Stanley. You know do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
I know later in the Kiss admitted to Zeppelin being a big influence. So what I'm saying is it's like they were this big powerhouse, like this brick wall of power just coming at the crowd. It's just intense. So next song,
right? Yeah. Oh well, yes. I mean, for me, John Bonham is the greatest rock drummer. I mean, just and this album, this film is, those songs, as you say, float on. I think he's the greatest drummer. I just do. I don't think anybody quite touched him. I think his combination of power, swing, what he plays is just, for me, is just out there.
No argument from me. And then Ginger Baker will be second.
Yeah. Second is much harder, but for me, he is the greatest rock drummer. And whatever he's playing, as you say, that the intro to this, to rock and roll, or whatever else he's doing, whether he's playing with, later we get to, he plays with Jimmy Page and he plays with Robert Plant and he just does all those acting. It's like something else, really. But anyway, stop. Anyway, second song, Black Dog. Again, I think this is, they are of a piece. They're of a piece on Led Zeppelin 4. They are of a piece on here. Again, I think this is about settling into the gig, not too difficult. Although I think this has more in it than rock and roll does. Again, what staggers me first is the confidence. Jimmy Page plays with a confidence, just an absolute confidence. For me, it's palpable. You can feel it in everything he does. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm going to play, and I'm just going to get out on the edge and go. With tremendous kind of visceral energy to him. They start off with the riff, and then Plant gets the audience to sing with him, do all of that, and he goes then going into the guitar solo. The thing that interested me most about it was that I think is that John Paul Jones, the unsung hero of Led Zeppelin, what he plays underneath what Jimmy Page is playing. First of all, he plays these amazing bass chords in parts of it. And then he plays, like the bass line he's playing, it's not the riff, it's something completely different. Well, underneath Jimmy Page's solo, he's playing this amazing kind of completely other bass line that clearly is, I don't know where he got it from, but I think most people would just play the riff, wouldn't you? If Jimmy Page is blasting away, you're just going, you'd be doing the riff, and that's fine. But he doesn't do that at all. He'd play something completely different. And I think it's tremendously complimentary, and tremendously kind of together. Clearly it's still musical and just gives it a bit of a difference. And I think that one of the great things we talk about on here a lot about, is what differences am I going to make within the song? What little things am I going to play that make it different here than it was there and stuff? And so for me, that's really good. I love the fact that they all stand around John Bonham's drum kit. They're all huddled in, big stage, but they're all in the middle, right beside them. And fantastic smoking playing from Jimmy Page in a solo, doing what Jimmy Page does, going for it, absolutely going for it. I think that's one of the, I say it a lot on here, but just going for it, never mind the old bang old string or whatever. I am going to it's the energy, the feel, the vibe. That's what I'm going for, and I'm just on the edge of it all the time. I'm amazed that I think a lot of other guitar players, they quite rightly, they play with feel, but they're kind of within themselves. They're not on that edge out here, where it's a bit of a ride. So 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. A fantastic second thing. As I say, the two songs fit together brilliantly. I know on the CD they do Celebration Day in the middle, but between those. But yeah, I think But the interesting part is that if you listen to the album, they go straight into all three songs. It's straight from one to the other. So I think that for the album, echoing Led Zeppelin 4, 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Fantastic stuff.
Well, you haven't left a lot for me to talk about, Simon. But from the very intro, like they break into, like, they segue Bring It On Home into Black Dog. So they do that little, they bring that in. And then when that stops and Robert Plant just goes, "Hey, Mama said the way you move," it's like they're so rehearsed, like they're so tight that they had that sort of that slogan with them, tight but loose. They had the arrangements down. They knew what they were going to do. They came in, they broke into Bring It On Home into Black Dog. Black Dog's a bit shorter than the actual original. I think there's a verse missing, I noticed on the DVD anyway. So on the actual release, the song remains the same. It's like there's a verse missing because they did two verses then a guitar solo. So which is odd for me the first few times I ever watched. I remember that, but I'd have to probably go back and watch the VHS version to make sure it's the same on that as well. But there does appear to be like a verse missing. But the reason I think they did that is they just kept the flow of the song going, whether it was a mistake or it's just how they performed it live to keep it shorter. On the album, because it's a song that's very difficult to play and perform because the way that the drum beat comes in and the riff goes out of time and then comes back in time at the end of the drumming. So for me, the way they perform it's just so much energy. Robert Plant's like demanding attention the whole time. He's up front. He's got his mic. He's with his 3/4 shirt on, doing this, waving his hair back, doing all the the rock god thing. Jimmy Page is all over it on stage. He's like he's pouting and doing it. Bonzo's just sitting there, just swinging on the drums. Jonesy's obviously playing that bass with the pick. It's really quite unique the way they performed it. And I have to say this, I used to prefer listening to this version of Black Dog than the recorded version on Zeppelin 4. I used to actually prefer it. Just the way that the speed of it, everything like that, I thought on Zeppelin 4 drags. But it's funny over time how you go backwards and you go back to the album and you actually sort of understand why they performed it that way, so that you can see from a live perspective why they performed it that way. I personally think the song is a 10 out of 10. It's never a skip. Jimmy Page's guitar playing on the solo, the way they end the solo, the way Bonzo ends the song on the drums, and the way they end the complete song, it's like an arrangement within itself that's completely different to it's completely different to the actual recorded version on Zeppelin 4. But in moving forward onto this, every song is it's completely different to the original. So I love that about Zeppelin. So it's a 10 out of 10, never a skip from me, Andrew.
I'm just looking at my notes here. So we're doing what song are we doing again? Sorry,
Black Dog.
Okay, because what I'm just looking at my notes here. So what album was Black Dog released on originally?
Zeppelin
4. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just all over the place. So, because I heard Simon in the first song, in his first thing, talk about the song remains the same. So so obviously it was the film. Sorry, I was a little bit confused, and I didn't want to interrupt. So look, for me, this song will always be about Robert Plant. this was the first time I ever heard Robert Plant sing in that distinctive voice that he has or had. We heard the first song, obviously, and that was okay. That was fine. But for me, the defining moment for my relationship with Led Zeppelin and Robert Plant will be this song. It was just fantastic, and I kind of agree with what Brad said. You know, for years I always appreciated this version. I always, and I kind of just hold on, guys. I got it. Hold on. And I kind of still want to maintain that. They're completely different songs, I think, on Led Zeppelin 4. But for me, the image of Robert Plant standing there posing, and I mean that respectfully because it is a pose. Everything is choreographed, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's bringing that all out to bear in that second song. And that's really interesting, and that's really an important dynamic between him and Jimmy Page, because they're both frontmen. They're both frontmen of that band. One's over here doing what he needs to do with the skin tight jeans on, and just banging it out and backing all that look up with his vocals. I'm going to give this a Brad score. This is just probably the defining version of the song for me. It's definitely never a skip, and it's certainly in my top 3 Led Zeppelin songs. I love it.
Beautiful. Well, we're all on the same boat, really. We're all sort of looking. I could have given everything 100 out of 10. I could have, but I want to highlight the other songs that I think are worthy of the 100 out of 10. So, but
it's very difficult, isn't it? It's
very
difficult.
We're all in the same I think we're all in the same ballpark with the songs. That's for sure.
Yeah. Interestingly, on the album, the album starts with Black Dog and then goes into rock and roll. And here they do rock and roll and goes into Black Dog. I thought as much. I thought they'd changed it around, but nothing that matters. But
no, well, I think they chopped it up for the movie the way they wanted to.
A bit, yeah. I remember just digressing a bit. I remember not having listened to going through the late 70s, kind of early 80s kind of punk thing and being involved in that. Not really listening to Led Zeppelin and that thing. And then one day borrowing a cassette of it from a friend of mine. And when I was at university, so it was about 82, 83, and standing at the bus stop in West London, putting this thing on, and that start, and you go, bloody hell, wow! And I was like really taken aback, like because I'd forgotten the sort of energy of it and kind of rediscovered it. It's absolutely brilliant, And to think, that's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Hey, mama, just even that by itself is just, so I'm a 14-year-old boy running around every girl I meet. Hey, mom, I like the way you move. Gonna make you sweat. But it's just fantastic.
We're gonna get flagged now.
I was just interested in dancing, man. Come on,
man.
I love the song. I think it's phenomenal. It's just
it's great, isn't it?
Third song.
Well, yes. So Missing Out, Over the Hills of Far Away, and Misty Mountain Hop, both really worth checking out because they're fantastic on the CD. We go to what I think is one. I mean, the version on Led Zeppelin 3 of Since I've Been Loving You, I think is an absolute masterpiece. I think it's a masterpiece in controlled playing and how the dynamics and the way that you put together a blues song that is not a 12-bar blues, has its own thing. It's not like anybody else. It's like that. And to me, it is one of the great recordings. I mean, I've listened to that song hundreds of times, on its own, in context, and I am awestruck by how it works and what Jimmy Page particularly does on it as a Plant, fantastic singing, John Bonham, the way that band plays that song is just I think it's probably, for me, it's like their masterpiece. I would listen to it before I would listen to Stairway and stuff,
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh, well, you will be. You will be in trouble.
I might be in trouble here.
Oh, you know, I'm. Yeah. So this version, I did as a joke, put docked half a point for not doing the beginning properly, because he does that big kind of chord thing, doesn't he? And he doesn't do that. Dun, 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 dun. That that beautiful kind of little phrase in the bend up at the thing. It's like half a point off for that. But I don't know what to say about this song really. I just think it has quintessential Led Zeppelin. It has the quiet bits, it has the loud bits, it has the space, it has Jimmy Page, he'll do really fast and then he'll do some really slow bits. The dynamics are incredible, and the way that he, let's face it, pretty much playing a Les Paul into a Marshall, the dynamics on it are fantastic. That I love the fact that in the film they cut to the audience and there are people like just going, like completely hypnotized by this as a performance. I think the way that, so for instance, I've made notes. Bonham interjects pace and energy into the chorus. He comes in and he, comes in properly. Picks it up, like a scruff of the neck, and then drops away again. John Paul Jones playing great organ to sort of fill out the sound and back it up to give it, so that Page has got all the bases he needs to do whatever he wants to do on it. I think for me, it's an extra. Whenever he plays this Jimmy Page, it's an extraordinary thing, and I get transported in a good way. I get transported. We'll talk about that later. But in a full hippie mode, so it's going to be very, very dangerous. But I think it has fantastic dynamics, pace, energy, beautiful playing. I think Jimmy Page is such a great player, on the edge all the time. The other thing that struck me, Brad, you tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I feel that it as a song is a kind of the first kind of blues song that is not kind of just 12 bars. It's not a 12-bar blues song. And it's like to me, it's tell me if I'm wrong about it, it's just fine, but the precursor to what a lot of modern blues guitar players do. Like Robin Ford and Matt Schofield and all those guys who play this modern kind of that this is the precursor. I don't know whether there's earlier stuff that does, and I'm sure there is. I'm sure but that's what I feel about it. That this is a blueprint for what a lot of modern blues guitar players, that they don't play a 12-bar, they play, approximation 100%. Of the thing.
100%. I totally agree.
Actually, yes, 100 out of 10 from me. As I say, it's one of my quintessential Led Zeppelin tracks. Fantastic. And Page does it justice on this. Fantastic. And that communing with the band and the crowd make it special for me every time I hear it. As I say, 99 out of 10 because he didn't do the intro properly.
Yeah,
Brad.
Well, look, there's so many things I could say about this song. It's one of my favorite sort of live performances of this song. Since I've Been Loving You, I love the way they do it here. I absolutely love the way that they do in the movie. There's a scene with Robert Plant just before he's in the dressing room and he goes, that cosmic energy. Everybody goes, yeah, bash. And then it's like Page just doing that blistering run to bring the song in. And the way he ends it with that note and then Bonham's boom, hits that. They come in at the right time. There's just something magical about that. I mean, that to me is where I know that we didn't get the proper, dun, 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 dun. We didn't get that, but we got something that's like different than what we got from the recording, which I love that they extended it and they made it into something like Page got a little bit of a run at the start to get the excitement up, and then the band comes in with Jonesy on the keyboards playing the bass with his feet, playing the bass pedals with his feet.
Yeah.
Bonzo comes in, they come in big, you know, Robert Plant standing with like chest proud, you know, you know,
is he going to do it?
And the way that they bring it down, you know, the dynamics of the song, you know, you see, you know, we talk on this channel a lot about writing volumes and tone controls on guitars, and mate, this is a perfect example of everything we've ever spoken about when it comes to writing volumes on guitars and toggles between, you know, neck pickups and bridge pickups. So basically, you know, you see Jimmy Page rolling back the volume on the neck pickup, and then he goes to the bridge and bites in and cranks it. He's going everything we speak about in relation to a Les Paul. That's what he's doing on this song. The dynamics are there. The song lifts, it drops, lifts, it drops. When Robert Plant comes in, it's like perfect. You know, there's nothing that I would say that they could change about the performance. I've heard some bootlegs of the same era of them playing this song, and they played it very similar, which was obviously they were just on the money. They were tight. They were playing well. You know, I've had arguments, well, not arguments, debates with people about Robert's voice on this song, on this version of it. And I absolutely love the way he sings on this. I will say there's quirkiness about the Led Zeppelin 3 version that I love. I love the squeaky kick pedal. I love the way Robert Plant sings on the Zeppelin 3 one. I love the intro, but I love this one as well. I'm going to back up what you said there, Simon, about it's like a benchmark for a lot of modern day blues guitar players and bands. Like I'm going to bring up, say, Joe Bonamassa, for example. He plays a lot of minor key blues stuff, this is a minor key. So this is a minor key. It's not a traditional blues turnaround, but there's a blues progression, and it's got a different turnaround. So basically, Joe Bonamassa covered T for One on one of his albums, and it's got Jason Bonham playing drums on it, and things like that. And then a lot of, you know, I like Joe Bonamassa quite a bit. So a lot of his records, a lot of the minor key stuff I hear Since I've Been Loving You stuff in there all the time. It's just, I'm just backing up exactly what you said, Simon.
That's interesting.
For this, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's never a skip. I adore this version of it. It really highlights how well this band played together and how diverse all the members were. I mean, you look at John Paul Jones, what he's doing on the song alone is quite magical, and you are sucked in. You're captivated. You're in the moment with them, and you see footage of the crowd. And there's a girl at one point watching, like she's sucked into it. Like they're watching. This is an era when people actually paid attention to what was going on, whether it was substance that helped them take in a little bit more what's going on or not. But 10 out of 10 for me, Andrew. I'll leave it to you.
Hey, Christine. Hey, John said D351. Thanks for joining us, guys. Good to see you. Look, I love this version of the song better than Led Zeppelin 3. As much as Led Zeppelin 3 version is recorded live in the studio, but this will always be the defining version of the song for me, guys. Page. This is an underrated piece of guitar mastery, I think, for Jimmy Page. That 5-minute guitar solo, what he's doing at that 5-minute mark, it's spine tingling. It's just it just blows me away. And when I first heard it, right through years of listening to this recording, I still get fascinated by it. I think it's wonderful. It's not the best vocal of Robert Plant. He's a bit scratchy on it. But, you know, look, as we've said before, you know, it's the end of the tour. And we all know, and when we do a few more of these shows, we'll discuss more about what happens with Robert Plant's voice. You know, it becomes an issue for the band, you know, as far as how they were going to tune and how they were going to do things and whether or not they were going to have these extended tours. So, and I look forward to talking to you guys about that. But I think we start to see or hear, guys, don't we? We start to hear what's going to happen with his voice and this, and but I love it. I'm not being critical of it. It's a bit scratchy. Brad still loves it. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. But this song will always be for me about Jimmy Page. It's an underrated guitar piece, and it's not mentioned by, I don't think, a lot of people when they talk about guitar tracks or guitar work by Jimmy Page. Rock Professor.
Purgatory for you, 9 out of 10. Honestly. No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that it is that Jimmy Page masterclass in how to play a Les Paul, in get all the sounds out of a Les Paul, how you do it. None of your chorus and blah 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 pedals. It's just pretty much, I think it's got a tone bender, but and a wah-wah pedal, but back into the Marshall, and that's really what you're doing. And every that's such a great photograph. Fantastic.
Just got to let John know that we're thinking about him in more ways than one.
Yeah, we're showing crazy photographs of you, John, while your back's turned.
Brad's going to show us those other ones later when we go off here.
The debauchery ones. The debauchery ones,
Yeah, lying under the table, surrounded by bottles.
Not bottles.
I want to see.
Not bottles. Something else.
Surrounded by something else. What? Fag ends.
Hi, Mark.
Let's not go there. Let's not talk about
Mark
that.
Tanner, good morning. How you doing? Hope you're good. That's fantastic. So anyway, sorry. So the next song is on the film is. I'll just see if it. No, yes, that's right. It does go into. They are the same on the album. So this is No Quarter. This is the second of the big set pieces. I think this is John Paul Jones's big set piece, or one of them on the keyboards. Coming in very moody kind of intro. Those beautiful things. It's we're all right, guys. It's gone. Oh, it's Brad. That's right. So yeah, with the green smoke coming in, and very kind of moody, kind of atmospheric introduction to it, and that he plays, and then Bonham and Pacer come in, tremendous, down, wow, 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 with that wah wah kind of riff. It's just epic with the dry ice in it. Plant singing, I must think really well. I think his voice is starting to loosen up, and keeping it on the straight and narrow. Singing these, and then they do the first bit, and then John Paul Jones goes into a different kind of melody altogether on the keyboards. It's like, hey, what are you doing? It's like not just playing the the song. I'm going to do something different in it as well, which I think is really cool. And then you've got Jimmy Page playing a fantastic kind of jazzy solo. It's got that kind of jazz inflected runs that he plays in the middle. Again, to me, he's cuts. He's using his theremin towards the end, using the old theremin a bit towards the end. Then back to the wah-wah riff, and then kind of that impressionistic drums by John Bonham, at the end and stuff. And so, to me, again, I get, I put this on, you get drawn into it, and driving to this is no good at all. You start not concentrating on the road because it's. For me, again, 100 out of 10, an amazing song, and I love it beyond loving it. Really, I've always loved these songs from Houses of the Holy, these kind of atmospheric ones, the ones that we're going to talk about now, and I find it epic in every way, and I think they create again, they just create this kind of atmosphere and this kind of and I think that that in 1973, that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, it's not. It's you're on the back end of the kind of hippie thing, and there's a whole thing about communing with the audience and kind of whether with a bit of help from a few substances or whatever, but transporting you to a different place, to a different time space, and where it swirls around you and stuff. I find it mesmerizing. as a track, and it's a 100 out of 10 for me, and it's just fantastic, and I love it beyond loving it.
Awesome.
I'm just going to give the whole album 100 out of 10. I can tell this is not good.
No, it's okay.
Slightly
Christine,
biased.
the reason why you can't see comments is because you're on Facebook, so it's a little bit different when you're participating on Facebook from YouTube. So, but we're all here.
Come to the YouTube. Come to the dark side.
No, Rock Professor. It's no problem at all. You score it. The way that you want to. That's no problem at all.
No, it's fine. So yeah, fantastic. It's a fantastic. I'm sorry, Brad. What say you?
Look, the atmospheric thing I can totally vouch for. Is it sucks you in from the minute you hear John Paul Jones start the song. There's like a vibe. It's very daunting. It's just like it pulls you in the song, and then as soon as like Robert Plant starts singing, it's obviously different to the recorded version on Houses of the Holy, but you can tell that they've got this song down in a live format. As soon as the drums come in, and when Page is riding that wah pedal, and it's just unbelievable. The tones are absolutely sensational. The sound of Bonham's drums, we haven't spoken about this yet, and I'm surprised no one's brought it up, but they really come through on this song. How bloody amazing those Vista lights sound. I just can't speak highly enough of the drum sound on this recording, on the whole film. His snare sound is just unbelievable. The way it thunders through the song, even when it plays light, there's just like that crispness to the drums. It's just it's sensational. Robert Plant's vocals are stellar. Jimmy Page, this is a perfect lesson, as less is more. He's playing a lot less than needs to be played. Let me rephrase that. He's playing a lot less than what most guitarists would probably play on a song like this. Let's put it that way. The minute John Paul Jones does his solo, he's off on a tangent. Like, he's off in his pom-pom wearing, bob cut pom-pom sleeve. He's riding the horse. He's with his family. He's off. Yeah. He's somewhere else, mate. He's, he's dreaming of pom-pom and riding horses or something. I don't know. It's unbelievable. I'll back up your comment about Jimmy Page's fusiony style, jazzy fusiony style guitar playing in the solo. I actually love the guitar solo on this song, and there's been many of times I've sat down and stolen ideas from his playing on this song. From the wah playing to the guitar solo, his chordal voicings, like inversions and things like that, are just unbelievable. All respect to John Paul Jones. He was the maestro in this song in particular. I think he shines. The whole band's on top of it. This is my first 100 out of 10. I adore this song. I always have. I love the Houses of the Holy version as well. There's an eeriness to it. There's an emptiness that I love. And this is my favorite version of this song. And you can't go past this one. This is probably the blueprint for No Quarter. Andrew.
Yeah, look, I have to agree with you too. You guys have to remember this is the first album that I heard all these songs on. So when I went and rediscovered Led Zeppelin again by listening to the studio albums, this was in the back of my mind. So I was always measuring the studio versions by this album. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. But I have to back up what Brad said. It's just a fundamental version of the song for me. When I heard the song, Simon and Brad, it freaked me out. I hadn't heard anything like it, this quiet, subtle beginning, and then this wah solo, which I kind of knew at that time what a wah was. It freaked me out. And it still does. And then when you see it on the film and you see the atmospheric, and they get that right for what, the mid-1970s, they get that right. So top marks for the production for doing that. believable for that kind of for that period in time. I'm glad you mentioned the jazz solo, the jazz chords, and all that. I didn't know any of that stuff when I was a young cat. I didn't know, but it was something that you pick up and you read. And again, it's another ace in Jimmy Page's bow. What a complete musician. Somebody who was it that said that I think Alan said it last week, that we have to remember that Jimmy Page is not a guitar player. He's a musician, the complete musician. Yeah. And this is one clear example from a guitar playing perspective that the guy is just not scared to do what he wants. Kind of interesting too, guys, because some of the media at the time didn't like that because they thought that it was, going down this mellow track, some elements of the media. But they just didn't get Led Zeppelin, and they didn't give a shit, did they? Because the fans got Led Zeppelin. I love it. I have to Brad score this version again, and I'm going to make no apologies, Rock Professor. I ain't going to take no quarter. I take no quarter with my scoring.
You need to make up for your disgraceful behaviour on Since I've Been Loving You.
And no quarter again. It's it's take no prisoners. That's where the term comes from. So again, there's English songwriters not scared to take concepts and ideas and, Valhalla and Lord of the Rings and all these great ideas and mysticism and esoteric things and combine them into what we call rock and roll. I love it.
Yeah. One thing that none of us actually mentioned was Bonzo's pattern during the guitar solo on the drums. If you have a listen to what he's playing, there's jazz playing there. There's swing, there's jazz, there's all sorts of things going on from Bonzo in that. The kick, snare, and hi-hat patterns are just unbelievable. So if you haven't ever thought about that, you need to go and have a listen, because if you listen to just what Bonzo's playing during the guitar solo, it's like a masterclass in drumming.
Yeah.
He's so light on his feel and anyway. So we could talk about the song obviously forever.
So many masterclasses in this, aren't there? Of the way to do it.
I can't mention it all. I can only refer to my notes and to the things that stick out for me. But I'll certainly leave some points up to my other co-hosts. That's always a good thing.
Yeah. I just in Brad Tolinsky did a book about Jimmy Page called Light and Shade, and in that book, Page says, he says about the playing, it was bigger than the band playing at the peak of its creative powers. During a typical Zeppelin show, there was such an intense exchange between the band and the audience. And the band set off the charge, the audience gave it back. It just built through the night. It was this phenomenon, this transmission that had Page wired those 5 nights in New York, because he never slept for the 5 nights, because the adrenaline was just so pulsing through his veins that he couldn't sleep. So, but that transmission, that talk of having a transmission and that transcendent thing is, it's very much off the back of the kind of the hippie movement in the late 60s when they started. Clearly, that's what you're trying to do with music. You're trying to transcend in some way, in a way that I don't think anybody does now. I think people might be like the Grateful Dead and stuff did the same thing, but that kind of are we going to make this kind of thing that pulls you in, that makes messes with your emotions in your head, and I think it's really important that that's part of what Led Zeppelin were about. And I think all the stuff that surrounds Jimmy Page about the magic stuff and all of that stuff, that is about him. That's about that, and it links it, for me, it links into it. Absolutely intrinsically, it's part of the band. And that wanting to transcend. Yeah. Oh, hang on one sec, boys. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, no problem. The Rock Professor. Yeah. I recommend people go and get that book. It's called Light and Shade by Brad Tolinsky. He's been on the 5150 show with Brad and I a couple of times. We've reached out to him too we've sent them a message, and to Chris as well, to get them on. Maybe they want to discuss this book, so hopefully they might reach out and jump on with us. But I recommend that book. It's available in Kindle. Came out in 2012, and you can buy cheap copies of it on eBay. So go out and get that book. It's going to answer a lot of things that people didn't know about Led Zeppelin, and I certainly will be using it for a reference material as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
fantastic.
So, guys, I know we sort of said we'd go up to a certain point, but how do you guys feel about hitting one more song or two more songs or whatever?
We'll hit one more song. We'll hit one more song and we'll come back because Light and Shade is a great book. Yeah. I think we should hit one more song, and we'll talk a little bit more, because the Rock Professor may be on another show about the complete performance as far as Jimmy Page is concerned and what he was trying to do, because the concept for Jimmy Page wasn't just about presenting music. It was a performance. It was a magical performance for him. So I think once you understand that, you get appreciation of what that whole experience is without getting too metaphysical. But we'll only be using Jimmy Page's references to explain that. So, yeah.
See, interestingly too, guys, I've just pulled up the 3 set list from the 3 gigs at Madison Square Garden. So I've got the set list orders, and they're very, very, very similar. If anything, they're identical by the encores.
Wow.
So you've got, it's just amazing. Rock and Roll, Celebration Day, Black Dog with Bring It On Home at the start. Over the Hills, Far Away, Misty Mountain Hop, Since I've Been Loving You, No Quarter, Song Remains the Same, Rain Song, Dazed and Confused, includes San Francisco cover in the middle, Stairway to Heaven, Moby Dick, Heartbreaker into Whole Lotta Love, including The Crunch and Let That Boy Boogie. And the encore was The Ocean. That was the first night on the 27th of July.
Right.
Yep. 28th is pretty much identical. And the 29th, they threw Thank You in as a second encore.
That's interesting, yeah. I'll just look at the CD version. The CD version's got The Ocean after the Rain song.
Yeah, I think just the way that they've probably just
programmed it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine.
What a cock up.
Yeah. I always wonder why they do that, and sometimes I think it's time restraints on albums when you go one side or whatever it may be. But
hey, Holly. Hey, Sonia.
Yeah. Anyway, so just thought I'd quickly announce those. Maybe we should do Song Remains the Same.
Yeah, we'll do Song Remains the Same, and we'll
the title track.
Back. We'll come
track.
Yeah, Rock Professor. Also known as the Mad Professor.
the Mad Rock Professor. Yes, it's getting more ridiculous and longer by the minute.
Hey, we're creative guys around here, We're creative.
Hey, Mama said the way you move.
I'm gonna make you sweat. Gonna make you groove.
We're so getting pegged for this now.
100%.
Mr. Walton's best Robert Plant impersonation there is going to get us flagged.
He's good, isn't he? He's so good.
Very good. So the next song is The Song Remains the Same, the title track of the film, album, whatever.
Hey, Chris.
Again, Jimmy Page is playing his double neck on this. So he's starting off with the I think starting off with the 12 string and stuff, and playing with plays the riff, and Bonham is punctuating the riff. That simpatico connection they have.
Yeah.
Into the driving rhythm. Page, and then Plant coming in with "I Have a Dream," da 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 da. Oh, so lovely that da 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 da. A bit after he sings, just like get in. You could tell that's. I think that's a beautiful. Don't you think that's a beautiful little line? Just that ascending melody line that Page plays. It's just like Where do you get that from? Don't know, but it's fantastic as a thing. I think that I noticed that John Bonham is playing the kettle drums. He's got his kettle drums out. He's giving them a whack every, which is again, it's just like a piece of subtle punctuation, isn't it? A subtle difference that just bringing it in. He doesn't do it all the time. It's not it's just in this bit, in that bit, he will play the kettle drums in, which I think is really cool. I think that goes into Page's solo. I think is fantastic on this. I think the playing, the chords at the end that he plays are just beautiful when he's just strumming those, just doing that little bit. It's just fantastically. Well, what's Mark got to talk to him? Wow, but it's again another kind of atmospheric kind of dynamics masterclass from the band as a whole. I think John Paul Jones plays fantastic bass on this, really holding it down with John Bonham. Again, they don't overplay. They don't unless it's they play what's necessary, and they have a tremendous kind of feel for what will fit, what is good in these things. That I think many a band could learn from this in many ways. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm just going to do this for the whole album. I'm sorry. I just, I think that for me, there aren't really any limitations to it, and I think they're great versions of the songs. And I think that what you can learn from these things is epic, and a way of treating those dynamics and that stuff. So it's 10 out of 10 for me. It's never a skip. Brilliant. Right.
I remember the first time I watched this film, and I remember I loved this song. I loved on Houses of the Holy. I loved the album. I loved the song, and I always loved how it segued into the Rain song on the album. And I remember the very first time I watched this film, and they start off with this Page comes out with the double neck and does the rain, and they do the stabs, and it's like, yeah. It's so exciting. I'm like, wow, how are they going to pull this off? Because, this is like such an intense song. When you think about listening to the recording, there's so much energy, even just alone in the drumming pattern. Boom, 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 ba-da, boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-da. There's that urgency behind the drum feel. And they get the stabs, they get the accents, and Jonesy's just plodding away on bass, locked in with Bonham, and they're going for it. They do the big intro, and Page has got his double neck 12 strings in standard tuning, and he's got the 6-string part tuned for the Rain song, which is an open tuning. If people don't know what an open tuning is, it's tuned to a chord, so it's not actually traditional tuning. So he can't actually play the lead guitar parts on the 6-string part, which is what you would normally do. So lo and behold, Jimmy Page plays the lead parts on the 12-string. I was the whole time I'm watching going, because I knew the song so well from Houses of the Holy, and I'm waiting for the guitar intro part, the solo at the start. He doesn't play the solo at the start. He's playing the chords behind it to the vocal. Yeah. And then when the vocals start and Roberts takes us on a journey, with his lyrical content, I had a dream, and so the song pulls back when the vocals come in, and then it, everything was small has to grow, and it always grows. Push, and the song takes off again, and then Page starts playing all this stuff, and I'm watching him just going. All of a sudden, he's starting to play all this lead guitar part stuff, and I'm going, this is unbelievable. Like, I never thought that someone could do this, and mind you, I wasn't playing guitar very much at the time at all, so I was. It was baffling me how he could do this on a 12-string. Even watching it now, I'm like, man, that's pretty amazing work on a 12-string. Let's be honest. And the song just goes. It's like a journey. We get the dream sequence from Robert Plant. But if you're listening to the music, what's going on there? Listen to what Jonesy is playing on the bass and what Bonham's doing on the drums, let alone what Jimmy Page is doing. There's just so much going on in this song. And the way they end the song, segueing into the Rain song, which we're not going to talk about, but it's just done epically. It's like they want that transition between that light and shade through. The song remains the same. They get the light and shade, and then they get the beautiful delicacy of what's to come. And I can't really explain this any better than I have. I could go on for hours. Robert Plant's vocals are just stellar in this song. I don't think he's having a problem with his vocals at all in this song. He's really warmed up. He's going for it. And he's pushing, literally, lyrically and physically, he's pushing. Yeah, the push lyric all the time is just, that's what he's doing. He's pushing himself. Anyway, for me, it's a 100 out of 10. Every time this song starts, it's like this urgency of energy. I just can't help myself but feel like I just want to get up and, throw chairs and break things. It's just amazing. Yeah. So it's 100 out of 10 for me, guys. And, what a wonderful version of the song, Andrew.
Yeah. Chris is saying in the chat that it's definitely a desert album. Desert Island album for him. I have to agree too. It'll be in my top 10. Look, Brad, I got to agree with you. Again, so I want to paint a picture for you. So you're listening to the cassette tape, and you're hearing this song, and then you see pictures of Jimmy Page, in guitar magazines and in books. He's playing this Les Paul, he's playing a Telecaster, and he's playing this double neck thing, looks like an SG. And then you find out, it is an SG double neck, okay. And then one of your friends tells you, he plays it on Stairway to Heaven. And then a few years later, you get to see this video, and it's the first time you actually see Jimmy Page play this 12-string, and it's like a religious experience. It's like,
yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, oh wow, So this song, for me, guys, will always be that moment when I saw this little guy play this instrument. And I'm not going to repeat what my co-hosts have said, but Brad did it really, really, really well with the guitar solo. It's just phenomenal. Again, the version of the song for years was the only version that I heard for about at least 2 years before I got Houses of the Holy. And I love that version. I love this song. I think it's one of Led Zeppelin's greatest songs. But again, that memory, that image, Brad, of seeing him come out with that. And we all, and Brad and I and the Rock Professor, we share. You know what we do, guys? We share pictures of Jimmy Page. We tag.
Worryingly.
Yeah. I'll tag a picture of. And if you guys want to join our tag club, subscribe to our Instagram accounts. And I'll tag the Rock Professor and Brad, of Jimmy Page playing this mammoth instrument, this just thing. I'm going to Brad score it because of that. I just can't get rid of that image and what it did to my mind, Simon, and my body, and how it just set my love for rock and roll on fire when I saw that. At that moment, something happened. God bless Jimmy Page.
100%. 100%. And you know what? It makes me want to go and watch it again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
when you've got rock and roll, you're doing good things.
I can so recommend this. It's a really, really great CD. It's fantastic. Because you've got all the tracks on it. But that's really worth getting as well, because it's been interestingly remastered mixed by I'm getting this right. Mixed by a man called Kevin Shirley.
Oh,
and as any fool knows, what does Kevin Shirley do? Mainly produce Joe Bonham Massa.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's Australian guy.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Australian. He's Australian. Yeah, that's right.
He's an Aussie. And that's another good thing too with Bonham. Go and listen to his 25 albums that he's released in like 3 years. and he's very, very clever too, because you may not like some of the albums that he's done, but sonically they sound great. They sound good.
Some of the best sounding blues records ever.
Yep. Yeah. And I can't believe we haven't done JB on this bloody show.
Well, we will moving forward.
So the problem is the British bit.
Well, he's done some British blues. He came out a couple of years ago. He did the Blues Explosion. That was a great recording and a great film.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. We need, it's on the list of people we can do.
Look, I'm glad, guys, that we're taking our time with this. I'm glad that we're giving it the detailed attention and the emotional excitement that we have for the music, and that fire that we've got over 30 odd years of listening and seeing this DVD. If it transfers into this video that we're doing for other people who may not be familiar with it, or might want to go out and see the recording, see the film, because I spoke to 3 people over 2 weeks, rockers that I know through work, through my business, and they've never seen the film.
No.
Wow.
It doesn't necessarily have a great reputation as a thing. I think that in some ways it's of its time. It is of 1973, not 2022, and I'm fine with that because I was alive then, and that's my thing. But I think if we talk a bit about it, we talk about the sort of the film, the fantasy sequences that they all did, or 3 of them did. I don't think John Bonham's a fantasy sequence is just him having a good time in cars, but that's fine because that's what he's like. But the others, and I think that those things are probably of their time, really, as things, and ideas that you had in 1973 have a different perspective and a different way of looking at them than they do now. So I think that they were always, but even by 1976, you were in the precursor to punk days, so they were viewed as being kind of a bit self-indulgent and stuff, and I think probably the band feel about them to a certain extent as well. But let's not that. So in a sense, I think that they possibly take away from the music in some ways rather than add to it. Maybe they added to it in 1973, but not in 1999.
Yeah, and I think what we have to remember too, and Brad Tolinsky's book, Light and Shade, details it very, very well for a lot of people if you're not familiar with it. And we've discussed this on other shows, and this is one of the reasons why, Rolling Stone, it will always be an F publication, in my opinion. But they bagged Led Zeppelin 1 and Led Zeppelin 2 and Led Zeppelin 3. They bagged it so much so that they made fun. They made fun of the records. And it got to a point where Jimmy Page said, well, if you're going to talk about me and my band like this, there's only one thing.
I'm going to talk to you.
I won't talk to the media. And so he snubbed the media for years. So rightly so, because just because you're a music hack or a journalist or whatever, you got to respect the people you're talking to. Yeah.
But fortunately, that's turned a corner now, isn't it? He did that, book with Brad Tolinsky, and he has done detailed interviews of,
Yeah, and he's going to come on the British Electric Blues Show one day too.
Oh dear. The mere thought of it makes my palms itch. In horror, I'm not going on a show with Jimmy Page.
Yeah, no. But I get the point that you're making, Rock Professor, about punk being on the horizon and all that. But we've got to remember that this whole thing was just something that Led Zeppelin wanted to do, along with the management and their record company, and it was something that Led Zeppelin had been doing for 3 or 4 years solidly by themselves. They didn't care what
home movie. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't care what the rock critics thought of them.
They never did. No, they never did, because clearly they
Yep.
were massively popular. You know, I mean that 73 tour is,
Yep.
you know, is a kind of amazing kind of, you know, was it in Florida they beat the Beatles record for number of people at a gig
Yep.
and stuff, and you know,
Yep.
so you know, clearly the the critics didn't really matter that much. They just you know, they just, because they knew they had that connection with their audience, you know, in a sense, you didn't need the critics really, you know, and what they said was not material in many ways. I mean, I think that's probably true.
I love talking music with you guys. We got to go because Brad's got to go because he's been under the pump. He's got a few things he's got to do. Chris Hunter, a good friend of the channel, is going to go and take Brad's advice. He's going to go and watch the song It's the same this evening. So good on him. But yeah, Rock Professor, I look forward to hanging out with you and Brad as we continue doing this segment. I think we're doing it justice. Everybody in the chat is contributing really, really well to the conversation. As usual, you guys inspire us, provide us with the springboard to come back weekly. Thank you.
100%. And look, guys, thank you for joining us. I mean, it's humbling, you know, to share this time with you when we're just talking about stuff we love. We're just fans. We're just talking music. So it's like we're all hanging out at a pub, just having a chat about our bands that we love. So, you know, so thank you guys. And the only thing we ask of you guys is to help us grow so we can keep, you know, it'll help us get great guests on the channel as well, where we've got lots of followers and whatnot. So please share our channel. That's all we ask. Share our channel. Let's grow this thing organically. We are at 888 subscribers.
888.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Holly. Thank you, Chris.
Just a shout out to the people in the chat who also make music, like Mark Tanner, Arvin. You know, check them out. And Hugh Caldwell has got a great version of See Emily Play. No, Arnold Lane this week. Really good version of it. So hats off to
all
Hugh.
linked on our channel, all on our community page, guys. Go if you guys are watching a replay and have not seen our community page, take the time, please, and go to our community page when you're finished watching us here and subscribe to all those channels on there and let them know that the British Electric Blues guys sent you guys over there. They'll be grateful.
Yeah.
100%.
And you know, anybody who's making music, you know, even if you don't like it, it's still a hard, difficult thing to do. Brad will tell us, but you know, so well, you know, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, it's a lot of time, you know. So I'm keen to shout out the guys who are, you know, whether you're doing cover versions or whether you're doing your own stuff. It's fantastic. Well done. Keep it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. We'll see you next week. Part 2.
See you guys.
3.
3.
Yeah. Oh. Take care all through the week.
Who are those handsome dudes? Who are those dudes?
Devils. Certainly devils.
Not bad, eh? Not bad.
Get us out of here, boss.
We're out of here.
For some reason, I think that's going to show up all the time, that photo, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
It's gonna be the backdrop of the show next week. Hold on. I'll give it. Hold on before we go. Hold on. Let's do it now. Let's do it. Give you guys a teaser. Oh, can I do it? Can I do it?
What are you doing?
Oh, no, I can't. No. But I'll prepare it. This will be our back screen for next week's show. All right. See you guys later. Promise we're going. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hit it, boss.